Hello, a little podcast today on celiac disease or gluten allergy, I guess you could say, and gluten sensitivity, intolerance, allergy, and this disease and how magnesium plays a key role in helping these people who suffer here. Now, magnesium is not the first thing you think of when you have an irritable bowel syndrome or whatever, or any of this kind of inflammation. You don't think of it because you think of this like laxative. That's the first thing people think, but that's because we're doing it the wrong way, and that's why it's laxative. It's the body's way of saying, get this out of here. And so, but to be fair, the body's also saying, but I need a little bit of it because I'm deficient. So the body gets stuck in like a catch-22 where it needs it, but like it's not the right way. So when you go through the transdermal route, there's another kind of saving system that you can use, which is your skin, to bring that magnesium levels back up in the body without having to go through the gut. And that's the key to these gut sensitivities and loose junctions and leaky gut and all of these syndromes that are out there that concern the problem with intestinal absorption. So I think that one of the ways that the magnesium helps so much is it allows for those phospholipids and in the fat layers, even in the enterocytes, there's magnesium dependent enzymes which allow for the uptake, and even the proteins in the layers allow to uptake that same magnesium from the foods, and then the magnesium is also used to convert and for the ATP cycle of these same cells to allow them to function properly. Now that's one level of it. There's another level, if you want to understand in a more mechanical way, is that the magnesium chloride, because it has this water molecule attached to it, it has this natural viscosity, almost like a dry oil. And that viscosity is like a traction viscosity. It's not like smooth. It's like a perfect traction, like a quantized smoothness. And so that allows for the proper functioning of the body. The body can rhythm itself around that traction and also have that viscosity to keep things from peroxidation and oxidation and everything else. So you need this kind of viscosity. So this viscosity is one of the keys to how we get these gut syndromes and especially celiac disease, because the magnesium is no longer in high enough. I mean, they've already proven that celiac disease and low magnesium they run hand in hand, and the reason is because the malabsorption. You're not being able to absorb as much. So when you're able to bring this in through the body, through the tissues, well, you start bringing in intracellular magnesium little by little through the body's natural mechanisms of bringing it in. First, it goes through the acidification processes, and then it goes through fat processes in the skin, and it creates its own food out of this little metal. And it also has the time to break that metal down. And so that allows the body to turn this into threonates and glycinates and citrates and all these beautiful things that we buy for a lot more money. It helps turn them into those in the body. And the body uses those as it needs from the chloride molecule. And this is basic science. I mean, when you eat like almonds and bananas, whatever it is, and it goes through the hydrochloric acid, well, that chloride molecule attaches to that magnesium, and you're back to magnesium chloride. You're back to that same substance which we have in the bottle, but it's being attached to things, and so it can be better absorbed. So this idea that celiac disease can be helped through turning up those levels and turning it up through the transdermal route, so we don't have to go through the gut. And this is how we can turn up our whole system without having to harm the system, which is the most fragile in that person's life. That one system can be left alone, so to speak, while you're healing and getting those tissues saturated. It can take up to 6 months to saturate fully the system, and to get the deficiency is not just overnight. It takes a while. It took me a year to get out of it, and I went through about 10 bottles. And I'm not saying this to sell anything. I'm just saying that it helped me to understand that it's not. There's a little bit of a challenge to it. A lot of people do it in like 4 or 5 bottles, 2, 3. But the most important thing is to just get started and get the benefits. And so all the other vitamins and minerals are going to be limited if magnesium is limited. It's going to be the limiting factor of all of them. And now studies keep coming out showing that a lot of our deficiencies can't be healed without synergy. You can't heal D without A, and you can't heal D without magnesium. And you can't heal A and D without vitamin K2. So they're all trying to come together and trying to show you that you need a trifecta of things, a threefold approach to be able to heal a lot of the things that we've been trying to, do in isolation. Oh, I'm just going to take more vitamin D. I'm going to take more calcium. I'm going to take this. So it needs a synergy, and it's healthier that way. And the body, the body's not as offset by one thing than the other. So yeah, celiac disease, transdermal magnesium is the key, because you're not going to be able to do it internally. It's going to come through another way, and it's going to help. It helps with the lactose. It helps with the viscosity. Actually helps from the lactose. And I mean, one of the famous things about magnesium is how it keeps bonds from being overly sticky. And so it does this in the blood and helps the blood thin. It's like a natural blood thinner, and through thromboxane and other elements in the blood. It's also anti-inflammatory, so with the smooth muscle tissue and the dilation and the things that it helps to stop the calcium vasoconstriction. And so it has these properties which all align themselves with the gut and irritable bowel syndrome, celiac, and all of these things in a general way. But then on a specific way, the viscosity also allows for the lack of overly sticky proteins to stick to that gut wall. If the magnesium is high enough, not only at a tissular level, which takes time, the long game, to build up those tissues with the right amount of magnesium in those tissues, but also the short game of the viscosity doing something live and active now as it's getting into the body in higher and higher doses through the skin. Now the skin is not weak. It's a very strong way to dose, because think about it. You got this whole ubiquitous surface. You can dose up. You can take much more through the skin. It is an organ. It does store vitamin D and magnesium, and it can bring that into the body in much higher dose than you could do through the internal. The internal is going to trigger the laxative effect, and a lot of people, especially in this category, just give it up because they're not even going to go there. So this is a really powerful thing to know about. So yeah, hopefully that can be of help to someone. When it comes to magnesium, always get the right stuff. Do not go cheap in this area. There's a lot of stuff out there that's $1.50 a week, and we're $3 a week, so you could say it's double the price. But there's a lot of fake stuff out there, even stuff that's pretending to be Zechstein. It's called ancient Permian, genuine Zechstein. There's all sorts of labels out there, and they're self-certified. And the only real official seal that you could find from the Vendam, which is a city in Holland from which this natural salt pillow formation is, where you find this natural state magnesium chloride stone called bischofite in large quantity, is using the logo Zechstein inside. So if the Zechstein inside logo doesn't appear, is not on the bottle, it's not from the city of Venn. It's not the real thing. It's not even from Holland. So there's a lot of fake imports. The word Zechstein can't be controlled. So there's a lot of fake UPS, USP, pharmaceutical grade, and all these different companies, Spray and Permian and Trans, Ancient, and you see these different labelings, and they're using the word Zechstein abusively. So the only way to guarantee the right thing is probably to spend a little bit more. The thing is it's not that expensive. It's $3 a week to knock out the #1 deficiency in the world. And so it's not something that we should play with just getting super cheap on. It's kind of like getting really cheap on our salt and eggs and milk and bread and things like that are so basic. We want to spend money in these areas to where we can ensure a better product, because when it's not coming from the Zechstein inside and that logo's not on the bottle, first off, it's solvent extracted, it's chemically treated, and so therefore it's not the same at the molecular level as far as chelation, uptake, bonding, conjugation, and all these other membrane transport and connectivity and calcium channel blocking. All the things that magnesium can do are limited by the fact that it's been chemically treated, and it's no longer, I guess you could say, sticky. It's sticky as a substance no matter what they do with it, but it's no longer sticky and to a molecular level and able to chelate and make those bonds and conjugations in the right way. So you want to get something that's done right by nature, and pure. And so this guarantees that. Not only does it guarantee that, but it also guarantees that people aren't mixing some good stuff with some bad stuff and then selling that as Zechstein or whatever, because as soon as the label, the logo's not on the bottle, you can't rescan that bottle and tell what it is. So there's a way to just keep this fakery going. And so we want to try to find the right stuff. I guess most people, it's not that they're all malintentioned, but it's just that there's this kind of lack of consciousness around the fact that magnesium, oh, it's all the same, it's just a mineral, do what you want with it, but it's not. And so the same with milk, the same with bread, everything is different. You just can't say pasteurized, like milk from these industrialized cattle is the same as small Jersey cattle, raw milk, and so it's just worlds apart. And so don't be fooled. So get the right stuff. That's for the first part. The second part is it's in glass. So if you want the right stuff, get it in glass. These glass blue bottles, and this is the signature series of the Zechstein inside, as far as that type of quality that we could use to make sure the product has no endocrine disruptors, no chemical microplastic leaching into the product, and then that, once again, going into the body. Now, you don't want that in the body because we're trying to get those out of the body, and magnesium conjugations help pull that out of the body through enzymes. And so we don't want to bring some in at the molecular level on that same molecule. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. So do the right thing, get it done right, and get the right price point. $25 for 2 months is very cheap, and it's a good price point to cover the deficiency of the century, basically. So come check us out at theheartoftradition.com and get your own.